Welcome. It is June 11th, Thursday at 3 p.m., and I'm going to call to order our study session. And if we could get a roll call, please.
Director Meyerhoffen.
Present.
Director Martin.
Here.
Director Sewell. Vice President Griffith.
Present.
And President Duff.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Dory. Director Sewell did notify us that he was going to be out of town today. So with that, we won't be having any remote attendance, and we will be skipping the Pledge of Allegiance. Counselor, do you want to give rules of procedure today? Because we've missed you.
Sure. Good to be back. According to the rules of procedure adopted by the board, all notice meetings are conducted using Rosenberg's Rules of Order as a procedural guideline. Directors should refrain from responding directly to public comments at meetings of the board. The president of the board presides at all meetings and decides all points of order and procedure during the meetings. The president is responsible for maintenance of order and decorum at all board meetings. No person should be allowed to speak who has not first been recognized by the president. All questions and remarks should be addressed to the president as the presiding officer. No member of the board should speak more than once upon any one subject until every other member of the board wishing to speak on that subject shall have been given an opportunity to speak. No board member shall interfere with the orderly progress of a board meeting.
Thank you very much, Counselor. At this point in our study session, we'd like to open for public input. This is the opportunity for members of the public to address the board on matters within the board's jurisdiction. Please limit comments to 3 minutes or less. State law prohibits the board from discussing or taking action on any item not listed on the agenda. I don't see any members of the public in the boardroom. Do we have any online today?
President Duff, we do not.
With that, we will move right along to the employee recognition portion of our meeting today. Human Resources Report. General Manager Macy.
Thank you, President Duff, members of the board. Our Human Resources Report will be given on Monday.
Very well. That will bring us to our action items. The public hearings will actually be held on Monday, but I believe we may have a presentation on both of them. So I'd like to go ahead and open the discussion on public hearing resolution 2026-06 to establish sewer standby assessments. General Manager.
Yes, thank you, President Duff. Yes, as you said, the public hearing will be on Monday, but I did ask our accounting manager to give a short summary of the item, just in case those members of the public, if present or seeing this after the fact, are not familiar with this process. So, Skylar.
Thank you, General Manager Macy. Good afternoon, President Duff and members of the board. I am here to present on the sewer standby assessments and the recommendation to fix, levy, and collect service standby assessments for the fiscal year 2027. A standby charge is essentially an assessment that is charged to undeveloped properties to ensure that adequate water or sewer service will be available for that parcel when needed. This charge goes towards maintaining sewer infrastructure that undeveloped parcels can connect to when undergoing the development process. The standby charge is then removed after sewer service is established. The district submits these charges to the county tax roll to be billed with property taxes. The fiscal year 2027 amount we are proposing to send to the county is approximately $10.8 thousand, which matches the prior year. This amount includes a total of 868 parcels. We use a third-party Willdan to identify which parcels are subject to standby charges and then submit to the county tax roll on our behalf. This concludes my presentation on sewer standby assessments, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Do I have any questions from my board, Director Martin?
No.
Director Meyerhoffen?
What is the new standby charge going to be?
Oh, it stays the same. I believe we're not even allowed to increase it per Prop 218. So it's generally $10 per parcel, but can be larger. It depends on the acreage.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Vice President?
No.
And I have none either. Thank you very much for the presentation, and we'll look forward to the hearing on Monday.
Thank you.
Do I have any comments or questions from the public regarding item number 8?
No, ma'am, not online.
Thank you very much. Moving right along to number 9, again, this public hearing will be held on Monday. It is a resolution 2026-07 to establish water standby assessments. And I know we have another presentation on that. General Manager Macy?
Thank you, President Duff. I would ask Skylar Albury, our accounting manager, to take this item.
Thank you, General
Alan?
Manager Macy. I am here to present on the water standby assessments and the recommendation to fix, levy, and collect water service standby assessments for fiscal year 2027. The water standby assessments are similar to sewer, except these charges go towards maintaining water infrastructure that undeveloped parcels can connect to when undergoing the development process. The standby charge would also be removed when a water connection is established. These amounts are also submitted to the county tax roll. The fiscal year 2027 amount that we are proposing to send is approximately $228,000, slightly less than the prior year amount of $230,000. The total standby revenues are expected to decrease in the future as more properties connect to water service. The current year's total amount includes approximately 4,500 parcels. Wildan also identifies which parcels are subject to standby charges and submits them to the county tax roll on our behalf. This concludes my presentation on water standby assessments, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Any questions from my board, Director Meyerhoffen?
No, just for clarification, I already know the answer, but there's no increase on any of this.
No,
Because
and I believe there will never be.
then, okay, good. Stop those bad rumors before they start.
Thank you very much. Director Martin?
No comments.
Vice President?
Nope.
I have none either. Thank you for the presentation, and I look forward to this hearing on Monday as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving along to number 10, Resolution 2026. Oh, I'm sorry. Just in case, are there any members of the public who want to make any comment on number 9?
No, ma'am, not online.
Thank you so much. Again, moving to number 10, Resolution 2026-08, addition of delinquent accounts of county tax rolls. It is recommended to adopt Resolution 2026-08, requesting the addition of delinquent water and sewer charges and other fees of $5 or more to the 2026-2027 Riverside County tax rolls. General Manager Macy.
Thank you, President Duff, members of the board. I ask that our accounting manager, Skylar Albury, present this item. It's a busy day for him.
Thank you, General Manager Macy. I'm here to present on the addition of delinquent accounts to the fiscal year 2027 county tax roll. Account balances in excess of $5 and more than 60 days delinquent are placed on the tax roll annually. This year, 468 accounts were identified that fit the criteria for a total of approximately $299,000, as opposed to $293,000 in the prior year. A majority of these delinquencies are for vacant homes or lots. Since the district participates in the county's TEETR program, we will receive the full $299,000 next year. Any additional late fees and/or interest will go to the county. The program saves on staff time and collections costs. A total of 58 customers have received United Way contributions year to date, totaling $8,600 to help reduce delinquent accounts, as opposed to 41 contributions totaling $4,100 in the previous year. It is good to see the amount of customers receiving United Way contributions has went up 41% from the prior year, and the total contributions made went up 110%. This shows that customer service has been doing a great job of letting customers know of the resources that they have available to them. This concludes my presentation on sending delinquent accounts to the county tax rolls. I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Any questions, Director Martin?
No.
Director Meyerhoffen?
No.
Vice President?
Yes. I saw quite a number there that had pretty high balances up in the thousands. Have any of those actually had their water shut off because of this?
Yes. So a good amount of those identified. There was an identifying factor on there that says it was shut off or not. I do not remember at the top of my head from customer service. I could let you know on Monday, but yes, the water shutoffs do happen after 90 days, but this timeline is 60 days. So though many of those, the water is shut off, but not all of them though, because some may just be at say 70 days and not reach the 90 days yet.
Yeah, I saw quite a number on Little Morongo, so. Just kind of curious.
Mhm. Yeah, I want to piggyback on that. I actually was seeing some even on Fifth Street that surprised me in the 12,000 range. How does someone's bill get that? And this really isn't a question for you, Mr. Aubrey, but for General Manager Macy, how does it get to a 12,700 number?
I'll have to look into that. We'll have an answer for you
I
on
would
Monday.
like us to look into that a little further because I think that if we're allowing it to accrue that high, we definitely need to be shutting it off much sooner. We know when it's delinquent, so that's huge. That was the only comment. I didn't really have a question, but I myself had the same concern Vice President Griffith had. So thank you for those clarifications and looking into that further. Do I have any questions from the public regarding number 10?
No, ma'am, not online.
Thank you very much. Anything else from the board?
Just
Yes, sir.
that $12,000, that is, I believe, I could be wrong, wait, fourth, fifth, that's the old, what's the place that burnt down and they tore it down?
Sahara? No.
Yes,
Sahara?
Yeah.
Oof. All right. Well, thank you for that. We'll move right along then with nothing further on number 10. Anything further from staff? No?
No.
Okay. 11 then, fiscal year 2026, 2027 budget. It is on 3 levels. We're being recommended to adopt resolution number 2026-09 for the operating and capital budgets, the 2026-10 adopting its appropriation limits for fiscal year June 30th, 2027, as well as resolution 2026-11 adopting its employee classification plan effective July 1st. General Manager Macy?
Thank you, President Duff. Members of the board, I'll ask our accounting manager, Skylar Aubrey, to present this item. As you recall, we did discuss this item in our most recent workshop where we gave a presentation and went through line by line the entire budget, but I think we'll be able to provide an overview today and answer any questions. Skylar?
Thank you, General Manager Macy. Hope you're not tired of me yet. I am here to present on the recommendation to adopt the operating and capital budgets for fiscal year 2027, appropriations limit for fiscal year 2027, and employee classification plan effective July 1st, 2026. The budget data will be the same information you saw at the workshop on the 3rd, with one small change to the capital budget. You will also see a description change for the engineering technician 1-2 position to the engineering technicians 1-2 senior position that I handed out and have made the changes to the budget book. This will be updated on the Monday meeting attachment. On this slide, you will see the same amounts as presented in the workshop. You will see operating revenues of $25.8 million, less operating expenses, including depreciation of $31.7 million, to come to a net operating loss of $5.9 million compared to a net operating loss of $7.2 million in the prior year. Non-operating revenue of $20.5 million, which includes property taxes, grant revenues, and investment income, less non-operating expenses of $300K, which is interest expense on long-term debt, equals the $20.2 million you see listed for non-operating. This comes to a total of $14.4 million in net income, also called change in net position. This is compared to $19.3 million in the prior year, which included $5.2 million more in grant revenues. This was to be expected. In fiscal year 2027, we will be using the last remaining $12 million in our State Water Resource Control Board wastewater grant. Here you will see the proposed revenues for the fiscal year 2027 budget by fund. Total revenues, including operating and non-operating, amount to $46.4 million. The largest increases to revenues include a 9% increase in water rates, a 7% increase in sewer rates, and an increase of property taxes totaling $1.5 million. Roughly 56% of our revenues are operating revenues, which is what we call exchange revenues. This means that the district and the user exchange something of equal value as opposed to non-exchange revenues like property taxes and grants. Exchange revenues are recognized when the service is performed for the customer. For example, water service provided in June would still be a June revenue even when paid in July. Non-exchange revenues are recognized when the eligibility requirements are met. For example, a grant revenue would be recognized when the district incurs a grant expense that is eligible for reimbursement. No operating revenues occur in the general fund. The water and sewer funds have proposed operating revenues of $17.6 million and $8.2 million respectively. Non-operating revenues in the general fund total $2.4 million, consisting mainly of property taxes and investment income. Non-operating revenues in the water and sewer funds total $3.2 million and $15 million respectively, consisting of grant revenues, investment income, and property taxes. I expect this number to decrease quite a bit in fiscal year 2028 as we use the last of our sewer grant funding that we have available at the moment. Does anyone have any question on revenues before we move on?
Anyone from the board? Director Martin?
No.
Director Marhoppen? Vice President?
No.
I have none either. Continue. Thank you.
Here you will see operating revenues less operating expenses by department and fund. You will notice the general fund totals $0 with the administrative costs allocated on bottom. This is because the district allocates all expenses to the water and sewer funds based on proportional expenses. The allocation is generally about 65% water and 35% sewer. This allocation is for financial reporting purposes. That is why when you review our audited financial statements, you will not see a general fund, only water and sewer. Though it shows an operating loss of $3.2 million and $2.7 million for water and sewer respectively, the budget for both funds are balanced with non-operating revenues. Restricted revenues or grants were not used to balance the budget, which you will see on the next slide. Some of the largest changes in the fiscal year 2027 budget include the addition of a compliance and safety officer totaling $203,000, the purchase of a backhoe totaling $175,000, the cost of living increase for staff of 2.91% totaling $174,000, and spare rollers for the Horton and Nancy Wright belt presses totaling $130,000. Expenses are recognized when the good or service is delivered. For example, if we get an invoice in July for maintenance services for the month of June, the expense will be recognized in June. Does anyone have any question on expenses before we move on?
I don't. Director Martin?
No.
Director Marhoppen?
How did we come up with almost $100,000 for vehicle maintenance?
So that will consist of staff time, that will consist of gas, it will consist of parts. So there is quite a bit to it. I could research it more and get back to you on Monday.
I'm not blaming you. You're doing a wonderful job. This is just information I've asked for before, and it just still isn't happening. And anyways, please continue.
I'd love to get that information for you on Monday. Okay. This is the same slide you saw at the budget workshop with the same amounts. I wanted to show this again because the budget book itself doesn't have any tables where restricted revenues are backed out to show the budget surplus or deficit. It only shows the total net income or change in net position, which includes restricted revenues. Restricted revenues should not be used to balance a budget because they can't be used to fund general operations of the district. The $250,000 restricted revenue listed in the general fund is a cybersecurity grant, and the $12 million listed in the sewer fund is the State Water Resource Control Board grant. These both have specific allowable expenditures for reimbursement and shouldn't be used to balance routine operational costs. This comes to a total budget surplus of $2.1 million in the general fund. This is the amount that will go into reserves for future capital projects. We pay for our capital projects up front, and then we must reimburse ourselves with cash flow in future years to replenish the reserves. Does anyone have any questions here before we go on?
Director Martin?
No.
Director Marhoppen? Vice President?
Nope.
Good. Continue.
All right, on this slide, you will see the proposed classification plan. We discussed the new position at the budget workshop, the compliance and safety officer. This was an authorized position in previous years. Staff is proposing to bring this position back and assure the district follows applicable laws, regulations, permits, and safety requirements while also ensuring employees, customers, and the environment are protected. We are proposing to reclassify an engineering technician 2 position to a senior engineering technician and a customer service manager to customer service supervisor position to better align staffing contributions with the needs of the district. You will also see 2 FTEs or full-time equivalent positions for water distribution superintendent. This would be temporary to bring on a new staff to train under Jeff, our current water distribution superintendent, until he retires. This is expected to be in September. At that time, the FTE count will go back down to 1. Does anyone have any questions on the proposed classification plan before we move on?
Director Marhol,
No.
Director Martin,
No.
Vice President.
Yeah. September, as in he will retire in September or?
Correct, yes. And then he would be trained for, say, approximately a couple of months prior to that. So we would be able to use his expertise while he is still here.
We're right around the corner.
We are getting there.
I was going to compliment the forward action on that. I could have gone for a couple more months just for future knowledge. You could do 4 in the future, but
6.
we know that Jeff will be very missed, and it's going to be hard to fill his shoes. So whatever
Definitely.
time we can give this individual is going to be very important. Other than
Very beneficial to the district as well, yes.
Other than that, I had no questions or comments regarding this myself. Do we have anything? We have more slides on this particular presentation. Please
Yes.
continue.
Thank you. Here you will see the proposed changes to the capital budget. You have already seen the first 2 items at the budget workshop, and the third is the only change in the budget amounts since then. The $115,000 proposed increase for the Well 22 rehabilitation program is to account for additional contract time and unforeseen site conditions. A well pump pad needed to be removed and replaced. The proposed increase of $211,000 for the 19th to 20th Avenue and Whittle Morongo roadway project is for minor design costs and construction of 980 feet of 12-inch water lines along the 19th Avenue. This work will be incorporated into the roadway improvement project. Lastly, the proposed $53,000 to the Well 27 motor and equipment evaluation and replacement project was to complete the removal of the existing pump equipment, evaluation of well conditions, and installation of a new motor to bring the well online. This will ensure timely restoration of key water infrastructure and support system reliability ahead of peak seasonal demand. In the capital and debt portion of the budget book, starting on page 67, you will see that we have $181 million in continuing capital appropriations for fiscal year 2026. This means that we've already been approved by the board and we are taking forward to fiscal year 2027. We plan on completing and closing out 9 projects before fiscal year 2026 ends and add increases for the 3 projects that we just discussed. This leads to a proposed final budget of $181 million for fiscal year 2027. We plan on completing 16 of the projects listed in fiscal year 2027, which comes to a total of $43.5 million. Does anyone have any questions on the proposed capital budget before we move on?
Director Martin? Director Mara?
No.
Vice President? I don't either. I'm glad to see that we got that addition in there, though.
Yes,
Thank you.
Danny will be very happy. Lastly, here's the appropriations limit, also called the GONE limit, that you are being asked to approve. This limit was created by Proposition 4 in 1979 to put a cap on how much state and local governments can spend from tax revenue in a fiscal year. This amount is adjusted for inflation based on the change in per capita income and change in population. The per capita personal income is based on the state of California amount, which was 4.95%. This is determined by the State Department of Finance. The population increase, also calculated by the State Department of Finance, was determined to be 0.59% for the city of Desert Hot Springs. When multiplying these factors together, it gives us the total calculation factor to multiply against the prior year appropriations limit to come to the new appropriations limit of $141.5 million. The only taxes related to the appropriations limit that the district receives are property taxes. The district received approximately $4.5 million in property taxes in fiscal year 2025. Because of a majority of our revenues comes from user fees and not taxes, we will never have to worry about reaching the appropriations limit. We are still required to calculate it every year, though. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on the appropriations limit because in my experience, it has been widely misunderstood. This concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Director Martin, Director Meyerhoffen.
Just a comment when the time's proper.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Just a comment when the time's proper.
You can now.
President Duff, you're the chairman for the Finance Committee, correct?
Not this year.
Not this year.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I'm still the vice chair for the Finance
I
Committee.
believe, yes, you and Director Martin.
Okay.
Mhm.
I've been here 4 years now. And the Finance Committee has never met. That's my only comment. Thank you.
Okay. And Vice President?
No.
I want to thank you for bringing all this information. I know we had a lengthy discussion, but this was a very good overview of the key components, and I appreciate that. And yeah, I think it's going to be a long time before we collect enough tax money to worry about that appropriation limit.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Do we have any comments from the public regarding A, B, and C?
No, ma'am, not online.
Thank you very much. With that, we will move right along.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item number 12, Resolution 2026-05, amending the codified Mission Springs Water District Personnel Rules and Regulations, Title III, Personnel. It's recommended the board adopt Resolution 2026-05, updating the codified Mission Springs Water District Personnel Rules and Regulations. General Manager Macy.
Thank you, President Duff. Members of the board, I'll ask Oriana Hoffert, our Human Resources Manager, to provide this presentation. Oriana?
Yes, thank you. General Manager Macy. Hello, President Duff and members of the board. I am going to share my screen if you would allow me just a second. Okay, are you able to see my presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect, thank you so much. Okay. And I just need to move a couple of things out of the way. Okay. So this presentation will highlight proposed updates to the Mission Springs Water District Personnel Rules and Regulations Title III, Personnel, also known as the Employee Handbook. The handbook serves as the primary written resource employees rely on for district employment policies, procedures, and benefits, making it important to keep current for both compliance purposes and day-to-day operations. The handbook was last updated in July of 2025, so just about a year ago. Since that revision, we have identified areas where language needed clarification to reduce ambiguity. We also have identified new labor laws that must be reflected in our written policies, and we incorporated employee-requested changes approved by the board for fiscal year 2027. These proposed revisions are outlined in Exhibit A of my staff report. As we walk through the changes over the next several slides, please feel free to ask questions. Our labor attorney, Robert Cuthbert, is also in attendance. He and I have spent considerable time going over the updates to ensure the handbook remains current, clear, and compliant. So the first change that we have is Rule 15 was updated for consistency. Rule 17A was added to avoid paying for duplicate medical insurance coverage for retirees. I will move on. If you have any questions as we go along, please stop me at any time.
Oriana, one moment.
Yes,
This is a study session, so if any of you have a question as she proceeds, be sure you just chime in, okay? Continue.
thank you. Rule 19 contains some outdated references to inactive websites. Language was updated to allow comparison of multiple travel search platforms to obtain the lowest reasonable fare when traveling for work purposes. Rule 19D, the other lodging section, was also updated to remove another inactive website and for language consistency. Rule 22D was updated for clarity. Rule 22E, the standby section, was also updated for clarity.
Pause there for us for 1 second. Sorry,
This section, ma'am, or the previous
the
one?
previous.
Okay,
Just give us 1 second.
yes.
Okay, I just read that wrong. Sorry. Continue. Unless anyone
no
else have
problem.
anything. Thank you.
No worries. Rule 22, subsection F, is a new policy that incorporates the board-approved minimum call-out compensation time for employees on a standby. Those employees who respond to a call-out will receive a minimum of 1.5 hours of compensation for each qualifying call-out. If an employee is able to resolve the issue remotely, for example, without leaving their home, they will be paid in 15-minute increments. So this slide and this slide is also a part of that new policy. And paragraph 3 of this policy addresses a separate call-out events.
Oriana, before you move forward, I just want to make the clarification. As you recall, this was part of the employee process, so we went through to make sure that our benefits match up to the other water districts that we always compare ourselves with on a yearly basis.
This is just seeing it in the legal language.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Oriana. Sorry about that.
No, thank you for clarifying. Rule 23A was updated to reflect the board-approved addition of a floating holiday. We went from 36 to 45 hours. Rule 26E1 was updated to provide the district and our accounting department with some flexibility to issue compensation for unused accumulated sick leave at the time of cash out. Rule 26E6 was updated to comply with California labor codes regarding sick leave usage and its interaction with paid leave benefits under federal and state law. On that same line, Rule 27 was also updated to remove the requirement of using paid sick days to supplement paid leave benefits. Rule 27, F, other leaves of absences, was updated to require employees to provide the district with a minimum of 2 weeks advance notice of duty summons in order to receive compensation. There was a little typo on 27G. It should have been a G instead of an F. And Rule 33B, language was updated for compliance. Rule 35V, disciplinary action, was updated to allow employees to voluntarily disclose alcohol or drug dependency or potential dependency, and to clarify that the district will engage in an interactive process to determine appropriate, reasonable accommodations that may be implemented. Rule 39B was updated for clarity. We're getting there. The district's approved list of job eligible certifications for field employees under Rule 39, subsection G, was also updated. And lastly, Rule 40 was revised to incorporate the board-approved increase to bilingual pay from $25 to $50 per pay period.
Question on that one.
Going back, yes, sir.
So we have educational benefits for the employees, correct?
We do have some benefits, yes.
Okay. And that is, they can have those educational benefits if it's work related, correct?
Correct.
So if one of our employees now would like to learn a second language, that will be covered by their benefits, their educational benefits.
That is a good question. I would have to confer with General Manager Macy, but in my opinion, if it's work related for their daily activities, it would make sense.
Well, then the answer to our employees going to, say, College of the Desert to learn a second language will be covered by the district.
Could you go back one more slide, please?
We answer the question first.
I just want to bring back the slide before the bilingual pay. I appreciate your question. The updated MSWD personnel rules and regulations list. This is the list of approved education courses, correct?
Certification courses as far as the certifications for his staff, but it does not include, say, for example, tuition assistance to get a degree, like a bachelor's or a master's.
Or language for that matter.
Correct.
Please continue. Maybe Mr. Cuthbert has to weigh in on the answer to that as far as our policies, the way they're currently written.
Sure. Effectively, the way that we have drafted our policies is it does have to have a business relationship, business need. Many of the individuals in our front offices, as well as those who are working out in the field, can benefit by having a second language, usually Spanish, because those are the people that they are interacting with. For some of our other folks, it may not be part of their job to interact in a different language. So what I've appreciated working with Mission Springs is there is a broad approach to working with those that are supporting their education. And there are many of these positions that will benefit from having bilingual, but it does need to be reviewed on an individualized basis to make sure that it does match with business needs. But my understanding has always been it is approved whenever there is not necessarily a liberality, but an approach to the position that makes sense. So I think our policies are both compliant, but also supportive of our employees in their further development.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you for that clarification. I'm sure there'll be a help in the future to those who are looking at doing that. Thank you.
Great question. Thank you for that. Director Martin, Vice President?
No, just glad to see the change regarding government rates, because government rates for travel are very unrealistic in terms of what the rate is that the government says and what you can actually get. Most places are far above that. Even when you get the government rate at the hotel itself, it's usually higher than the GAO. So I'm glad there was a change.
Thank you very much. I don't have any other questions either. I appreciate us streamlining this and absolutely go right on.
Are we done with the presentation here, or?
Yes.
Yeah, if you have any other questions or comments?
The medical marijuana, the cannabis for the personnel, we tore that up one year. Okay, now the federal laws have changed. How does that affect our personnel with the new federal laws, or does it affect them?
So effectively what's happening with cannabis, but it already happened before, is cannabis and how it may stay in the body is not something that we were allowed to deal with. What we were allowed to deal with, which remains in place and will always remain in place, is an employee who is impaired by the use of marijuana, alcohol, prescription drugs, at any impairment which is under their control is subject to discipline, including termination. Now, one of the things that we just did in this proposal is also address how addictions can come up. self-reporting of an addiction, which, by the way, there's some who believe that you can be addicted to cannabis, but those self-reporting of issues we will address not from a disciplinary standpoint, but from an accommodation standpoint. But when it leads to an impairment, leads to a failure, leads to a safety issue, we will continue to deal with that. Ultimately, the change on the federal side won't impact us that much, but because we always get an opportunity and always have a right to maintain a safer and appropriate workplace.
Thank you for that clarification. And I think I feel safe. For a reminder for those who are driving our vehicles, don't be smoking it.
Thank you. And
The next question I have,
sure, go ahead.
any incentives to hire veterans in this budget?
No, there's nothing in our handbook that talks about specific about veteran.
So then I'm safe to say in the 74 years, about 74 years now of Mission Springs Water District's history, we haven't supported the hiring of veterans with any additional benefits like $50.
We always encourage a wide range of employees with various backgrounds to come in, and we've hired a lot of veterans in the past and we have a lot of current employees that were veterans. As far as extra incentives to that, we do not offer that.
So this is where my confusion comes in. We just asked, the question by a board member here was just asked, are we consistent with what the other districts are doing with the hiring? Some districts have half their staff are veterans. We're here in Mission Springs Water District, where we don't offer any incentives to veterans to come to work for us. And it's not that veterans ask for benefits. If we go to Home Depot or Lowe's, I didn't ask for those benefits, but when I get there, if they don't give them to me, I'm upset. Why? Because I was told I get them. If I don't get it, I'll go to the other store, it gives it to me. Same thing with people working here. You don't give veterans incentives to come to work for us, they'll go somewhere else. That's the whole idea of what we've been saying. What are the other districts doing? What are they paying? And yet here we are 74 years later, giving our veterans nothing.
Just to
Continue,
if
please.
just if I could just in the private sector, we tend not to give extra pay to veterans, but we do tend to consider them more for a job than non-veteran. And I don't know if that's our case.
Agree.
It could be, and it could be with the other districts, but I know that in the private sector, we don't offer extra pay just because they're veterans. It's usually, we encourage veterans to apply, and if they have the requisite skills, then they are first on the job.
Sometimes it goes by a point system, how they're being hired, they'll be moved up,
Yeah.
but
So I might suggest
They
this,
bring a lot of-
if this would be helpful.
Could I just really quickly, Bob, just 1 second. I did want to just clarify something because this is a little bit off subject, one, but two, we don't offer incentives for any group of people to hire them.
Correct. And
This
that's
isn't a discriminatory thing toward veterans who I'm a full supporter of. Both of my fathers are veterans. I have a lot of veterans in my family, but we don't offer incentives for any class of people or any group of people to get hired here. So I don't want to have it seem as though we are not supportive of our veteran community. I think that's opposite, and that's shown by the number of veterans that we have happily working here.
2,
I think we have more than 2 working here, and we have
We have
many
field.
more than that.
yeah.
we have 2 out in
But
the
it-
field.
But I think that it's important that
We have
we
more
not
than
get lost in the fact that we're not being unfair. We're not offering incentives to any class of people.
Let me just clarify, when we're talking about incentives, no. However, in our Rule 10, which is basically Section 3.02.10, we do have in our handbook veteran preference. If 2 candidates of eligibility list are identically qualified, preference will be given to the candidate who is veteran. We do have that
Well, that is a-
memorialized in our handbook, yes.
Then you need to
Thank
do
you.
the same for those who are bilingual. If they're applying for that particular job, that if they're bilingual, they're given preference along with the,
Well, that would create them a higher rated employee from that perspective because it would be more benefit.
Mhm.
There's a distinguishing characteristic of how we do our rating system.
So you can give one group of employees a $50 incentive, or it's $50, and the other group you
It's
can't
not an incentive, it's compensation
compensation.
for a service they're providing in addition to what's required of their job description.
Okay, well, that's okay. I'm not going to argue with that.
No, I appreciated the discussion, absolutely. Do we have anything else regarding the presentation regarding the changes to the policy?
No.
And Rob, did you want to continue with your comments, please?
Actually, I was going to basically echo what you were sharing, President Duff, and along with General Manager Macy, is that there really are two concepts here. The selection of an individual, and as General Manager Macy noted, we do have a preference when issues come up. One of the part about hiring that's important is we will often look at somebody's, well, let's call it book learning, college learning. One of the things about veterans is there's kind of an on the job. So within that, we have criteria to try and allow them to come into our workforce. But what you also noted properly, and this is a critical issue, and it's a critical legal issue, is on compensation. Going forward, if two people have the same skills, they'll perform the same way. But if somebody's bilingual, they're performing an additional skill in our workplace, which is justifying the compensation. So I think legally, in order to make sure that we stay safe, our policies as presently phrased are correct. But it also provides the opportunities we're looking for veterans to come into our workforce and have hopefully a long and fulfilling career.
Thank you, Mr. Cutbirth. I really appreciate that. Anything further from the board?
Just one
Sure. Go ahead, Director Martin.
question then. So we currently do not have an affirmative action policy at all in any aspect of it, hiring or.
I think that's handled by state and federal law. Rob, would you like to?
Right. Well, what we have, and this is an important change in the law over the last few years, as opposed to affirmative action, which we know even our Supreme Court is striking down. What we have are very strong non-discrimination, non-retaliation, non-harassment policies to make sure that everybody has an equal shake coming in. But given some of what our courts have been saying we cannot do in terms of affirmative action, we have not moved along that path.
Okay.
Does that clarify that for you?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. With that, I appreciate this very productive conversation, and I look forward to our decision on Monday. Do we have any comments from the public online regarding issue number 11?
No, ma'am, not online.
Thank you so much. We'll move to number 12, resolution 2026. I'm sorry, number 13. I just about repeated myself. Number 13, resolution 2026-12, notice of general district election, November 3rd, 2026, and establishment of deposit for optional candidate statement. General Manager Macy.
Yes, this is a routine item. As you know, we have two board members that are up for re-election to make sure that we are able to utilize the county registrar of voters process. We have to pay them or pay them back for the services they provide. This resolution allows us to do so.
And what is the cost of that to the district?
I don't know that we know that until after the fact.
Okay.
It looks.
Just going to add the candidate statement, optional candidate statement is paid by, not by the district, but by the
candidate.
Yeah. And that's, I think, $500. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
fee, $550.
Or it could be more, or it could be less, depending on how many people run.
It's true.
Do we have any comments or questions regarding this process? Director Martin?
Nope.
Director Marhoffen? Vice President? No. I don't either. And I don't remember if we ever discussed that cost a couple years ago when we went through this process either, but I know that we had to do this then as well.
And just looking at the staff report does talk about it being approximately $550 with a total overall budgeted cost of $40,000. But I don't believe we've ever spent that in years past. But we'll get that information for you on Monday.
Thank you very much. And I don't have anything, Vice President. Did you have anything? Okay. Okay. And anything from the public regarding number 13?
No, ma'am, not online.
Thank you so much. Moving on to number 14, Resolution 2026-14, to approve the initial study and adopt the mitigated negative declaration for the Mission Springs Water District Groundwater Quality Protection Program. General Manager Macy?
Thank you, President Duff. Members of the board, I will ask our engineering manager, Eric Weck, to take this item. Eric?
Thank you, General Manager Macy, and good afternoon, President Duff and members of the board. Earlier in 2025, staff enlisted Tom Dodson and Associates to prepare a CEQA study for the district's groundwater quality protection program. This program covers several assessment districts within our service area. Elements of the CEQA analysis includes noise studies, biological and archaeological resource analyses. Between April 14th and May 14th of this year, the district advertised the customary public review and comment period, and now that standard 30-day public review is complete. Staff will coordinate with Tom Dodson and Associates to finalize the environmental documents and send them to the Army Corps of Engineers, our partner, for their use and inclusion into their NEPA document for the septic to sewer conversion project, and will hopefully speed up their process. Only 2 comment letters were received, one from the California Department of Transportation, and the second one was from the Department of Fish and Wildlife. The comment letters and responses are included in the initial study that is within your agenda packet. Included in the agenda packet is the copy of the resolution, the various appendices as well, and the notice of determination and mitigated negative declaration documents. Those 2 documents are unsigned and will remain unsigned until the anticipated approval by the board, which hopefully will be on Monday. Adoption of the agenda item and approval of the resolution has no fiscal impact. Finally, joining me today is Caitlin Dodson-Hamilton from Tom Dodson and Associates, whom I asked to attend this study session in case there are any technical questions pertinent to this agenda item. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Eric. Director Martin?
No.
Director Marhoffen? Vice President?
No question to comment. I knew when I saw the agenda was 1,400 pages, I thought there might be something with CEQA in here because as Director Meyerhoffen knows from being on Planning Commission, that when our agendas are that long, there's usually a CEQA document. So lots of information, and thank you for doing it.
I'd like to ask Ms. Dodson if she were able to summarize the report for us. What does she believe to be the most important takeaway?
Sure. If I believe I'm speaking, can you hear me?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. It's really lovely to join you all today. This is a really great project to have worked on, just because I know it's a little bit going back in time to, this particular project that's been going on for years, but kind of gathering all of the pieces of the puzzle together and setting you guys up for success in moving forward over the 10-year period or more that this project is slated to cover. So I think the main takeaway is that this is a little bit of a document that is your, not your Bible per se, but your handbook for moving forward as you decide to embark on, area A or whatever area you start first, and whatever you do last. This document should be able to lead you through that without too many major additional CEQA needs. Obviously, biological resources, you may have to go back out and do different things, but there weren't any glaring problems because of the very, developed nature of the areas that you're going to be installing within. I really felt like I learned a lot about just septic abatement and all these other things from Eric and working with him. So I think this is a really great document, and I hope that it can really usher you guys forward and help with the grant money and all the other things that are going on around this project.
Well, thank you for that. And thank you for all of your hard work. And I believe that this has kind of been a decade or more long relationship with Dotson and Associates. And so I'm grateful that you were able to bring all of that history and knowledge with you as well.
Yeah, thank you. I've really enjoyed our relationship. I've been doing this for maybe 11 years as a professional and 20 plus years as a person working for my dad. And being able to work with you all and with him on projects with you has been a pleasure.
Thank you. Director Meyerhoffen has an additional question. Go ahead.
Yes,
Sure.
a little bit off subject, but did I hear something about somebody in California, a group of people or something was trying to get rid of CEQA?
I think there's always groups that are doing something. I have not heard anything in particular around that, but the big thing with the California Environmental Quality Act is that it's constantly evolving. So last year, there were some really major changes to housing and exempting a lot of housing projects from CEQA, specifically those that are like around more urban centers. Unfortunately, a lot of the urban areas are not being, there's less area to build. So developers, from what we can tell, are still looking to rural areas to build houses. And they don't get to utilize all these exemptions. So there was a pretty landmark change last year, but how that change has been, implemented in probably Riverside County specifically, it's less applicable, if that helps.
Yes, thank you for that clarification. And now we know the truth.
Oh, and it looks like Adam is on. He has his hand up to speak as well.
And please go ahead, Adam, you are.
Yeah, my apologies for giving unsolicited comments. Adam Rush, I'm an environmental planner with BKF, and I'm actually on the San Bernardino chapter board of directors for the BIA. I think what you might have been hearing, Director, is there is a initiative right now. It's called the BACA bill to place a referendum on the upcoming general election to reform CEQA. It's too much to go into right now, but if anybody wants more information, you can just Google that. And in my opinion, doing CEQA over 22 years now, some of those proposed changes are fairly substantial as far as timing and what documents you can and cannot approve. It's focused primarily on residential because the BIA is a co-sponsor and that's their main charge, but it does have a lot of fairly significant changes. I'm hearing that it's very likely that it will be on the ballot. Their signature gathering is progressing above expectations, and so then it would just be the amount of money they can raise in order to promote this adequately in order to educate the public. So if you want more information, just Google the BACA CEQA bill, and you can go down a rabbit hole there as long as you want. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for that clarification. And I appreciate all the work that the Building Industry Association is doing.
All right. Thank you so much. And anyone else online with any further comments regarding number 14?
No, ma'am, not online.
Thank you so much. With that, unless there's anything further from staff, Eric, anything further?
No, ma'am.
And thank you, Ms. Dobson, for being here. Appreciate that.
Thank you. You all have a wonderful weekend.
You as well. We'll move on to number 15, contract agreement renewal with Intelisys Communication Services for Information Technology Professional Services. It's recommended that we authorize General Manager Macy to enter into a contract, and I will let him or his staff give us more information on that. General Manager Macy.
Thank you, President Duff. I'll ask our IT manager, Kurt Kentenecker, to give this presentation. Kurt.
Thank you, General Manager Macy and President Duff and members of the board. I'm bringing the contract renewal for Intelisys. They're our IT support company. About 2 years ago, we did an RFQ for IT services. Intelisys won for a 3-year annually renewed contract. So this would be the third year of that. They've done a great job for us. The service has been good. I feel like we get a really great value for everything that they do. In addition to the services that they provide, they also handle a lot of our licensing. Some licensing is security based. Some is just some other features that we've been able to consolidate into Intelisys rather than having a bunch of other invoices and things we paid. So that's been a nice benefit on the simplification of accounts payable. In addition to their monthly cost, we've also included a bunch of potential projects that Intelisys will be able to bid on. And these were what the board approved a few months ago. We just haven't been able to move forward to the point where we can start writing checks to these things. So I've included that in this fiscal year budget. And it'll also be the security related ones will be covered by the grant. So as Skylar mentioned earlier, that is factored into the budget. So essentially what we're asking for is just renew the contract, continue their good service, and give them the opportunity to bid on some of these projects without having to come back to the board every time there's a small change.
Thank you very much. Anything regarding, no? How about you, Director Marhappen? Vice President? Me either. I'm glad they're working well with our staff, and I'm glad they're providing you a helping hand, keeping us all running and safe and secure. And I know that myself, I'm looking forward to next month getting an update on our securities. Thank you very much. Anything from the public regarding number 15?
No, ma'am, not online.
Thank you very much. That will bring us to the next portion of our meeting, the discussion items. Number 16, administration building update. General Manager Macy.
We're going to handle that item on Monday.
Will it be the same for number 17?
It will be as well.
So both 16 and 17, administration building update and groundwater protection program update will both be handled on Monday. That brings us to the consent agenda. Is there anyone who wants to? Well, no, that's for Monday. Sorry about that. We will go through them one by one. Approval of minutes. Any questions on the minutes by the board as you saw them? All right. And do we have any presentations on the register of demands or on the other three items, the acceptance?
We do have a slight change to the water supply assessment item number 22. Eric Weck is available to discuss those changes that will be incorporated into the packet on Monday. Eric?
Yes, thank you, General Manager Macy. Good afternoon, President Duff and members of the board. Let me bring up my presentation here. Okay. To serve as some background, where there is significant development projects that are in the preliminary entitlement process through the land use agency, a WSA and WSV, those are that stands for a water supply assessment and water supply verification. Those reports are required to be prepared pursuant to Senate Bill 610 and Senate Bill 221. The proposed First Commerce Center 2 development, and that area is shown in orange on the slide there. That's the encompassing parcels that are covered. That development will develop over 58 acres of vacant land to construct a warehouse building, which also includes about 10,000 square feet of office space. This site is generally located on the northwest corner of North Indian Canyon Drive and 19th Avenue. The site will be landscaped, including stormwater retention basins to also capture runoff. What triggers the preparation of a WSA and WSV is the size of the development project. And given the proposed development project is more than 500,000 square feet, a WSA is required. Now, based on the analysis and preparation of the WSA, which should be in your agenda packet, The estimated water demand for the project will be approximately 61 acre feet per year. This demand value has been updated from the value in your agenda packet, and it falls within the currently available and projected water supplies. And MSWD has the capacity to serve the proposed project well into the future. Secondly, there are no district monies being spent on the preparation of the WSA for the Palm Springs Commerce Center 2 project. The development team, made up of the developers, provided the project deposit to MSWD to cover the cost of preparing the WSA, as well as staff time reviewing it and managing the entitlement process as it pertains to the district's needs. Your agenda packet for Monday will include the updated WSA water demand numbers. Also joining me today is Adam Rush, who prepared the WSA, and I believe he's available for questions. You'll see on this slide here, it says revised water supply assessment submittal, and I highlighted those values in yellow that are that change from the initial one. So are there any questions?
Director Martin?
No.
Director Meyerhoffen?
No.
Vice President,
Yes.
please continue.
One, can we fix the typos?
Yes.
Two, that is a big reduction. That's almost a 50%. And I'm just kind of curious what triggered that.
Well, initially, the water supply assessment was submitted to us. We looked at it, and then we found that there were our plan checker also noticed that there was some of the numbers weren't really adding up, and there might have been a few errors in them. So we contacted the consultant that was preparing it for the developer. We worked back and forth, got some other things worked out, and I think there was a meeting of the minds as to how the calculation per acre feet per year was calculated. If Adam is still on the line, maybe he could go into detail if he likes.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just asking you to please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. In short, the change is based upon the water demand factor. We originally used a document that your consultant had indicated was too aggressive, and so we revised it. We were given a figure of 2,000 gallons per acre. There was some confusion on whether that was 2,000 gallons per acre per year or per acre per day, and that was essentially the change that we had made. So Eric and myself and your district consultant have all are all in agreement that is the correct calculation, and so that was the reason for the update.
Thank you for that clarification. Does that answer your question, Vice President?
You weren't sure if it was 2,000 acre a year or 2,000 acre flat.
Calculation tables that we originally provided were all formatted at gallons per acre per year, and then that was translated into a total water demand of gallons per square foot per day. And when we received corrections on April 7th, it was 2,000 gallons per acre. There was no time metric associated with that, and so we updated the tables, which were originally formatted at year, and then it was clarified to us by Provost and Pritchard, your consultant, that should have been square foot per day. So one, we were given a metric of per acre. We had to convert that to square foot per day. And once we did that, we came up with a factor of 0.15 using those tables that were originally submitted back in February. So in short, there was no, we weren't provided the time metric that was associated with that revised water demand factor. And then when it was clarified to us that it should have been days and not years, then it was simply, we had divided it by 365 days when that was not the correct conversion factor. So that's the issue. Is that clear?
Okay, I'll reserve my comments for Monday, but if you're not sure the calculations, I'm not sure I trust the document. So, but I'll talk more about that on Monday.
Okay, sir. No, we are confident and we are absolutely 100% sure of the calculation. What I was saying is that originally in April, there was no time metric that was given on whether it was per day or per year. The tables that were submitted to the district back in February had a time metric that is typically consistent in the preparation of a WSA. So we're 100% positive that is the total water demand factor. There was just confusion in the back and forth process that Eric had mentioned on essentially what the time factor should have been. Once it was clarified, we made those updates, and that was, deemed correct by your consultant. So we're 100% sure. It's just the change came a little bit late when we had resubmitted the document. We resubmitted originally this document back on May 7th. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
you. Gentlemen, is it possible to look at some other WSAs that we've done for warehouses so we can kind of compare?
Yes, we will do that between now and Monday.
Okay.
I know we've done a couple in the last couple of years, so we'll just grab those and make sure that the number sounds consistent based on use.
I'm concerned that my concern may not be appropriate at this juncture. I believe that we would be able to serve either of the correct numbers of water need, but I'm concerned with what the process is going to be for wastewater and what they're going to be doing to make sure that wastewater gets put back into our system here. So I would like to hear about that plan in the near future, but I know that's not what we're talking about today. So I apologize. Is there anything else from the board in regards to this particular WSA? Anything from you, Director Marhoefen? Okay. Anything from the public in addition for number 22?
No, ma'am, not online.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Rush, for being here today.
Thank you for your time.
All right. And with that, we will move along to our reports segment of the meeting. Directors' reports are generally handled on Monday. Does anyone want to go today?
No.
Nope.
All righty. And general manager's report. General manager.
We'll handle this on Monday as well.
Okay. And do we have any comments that our board would like to make? We have general comments, requests for future agendas, and requests for future meetings. Director Martin.
Considering we had over 1,400 pages of documents submitted, this meeting has gone by pretty quick. So I am shocked at that. Congratulations, staff and everybody for doing so. Wait till Monday. I may be sick on Monday. I don't know.
Oh, boy. Vice President?
No.
Director Marhoefen?
Yes. The Building Industry Association had a meeting. As you all know, the board made it to where I cannot attend a meeting outside of the Coachella Valley unless I come to the board to get permission to do it. What that has done is they had a meeting, it was in Ontario, I believe it was, that would have benefited the board if I had gone there and gotten that information. But I wasn't able to because I would have had to pay for it out of my pocket, then come back here and ask the board to be reimbursed. I've asked to be taken off the BIA because of it. I'm asking you now, President Duff, to remove me from the BIA. I'm not going to be on there under those conditions any longer.
Okay. I will talk to staff about how we proceed with that and get back with you.
Very, very simple. You're the president. You're the one that assigns the meetings.
I'm removing you as you've requested, and we'll figure out how we move forward. Anything else? Anything else? All right. With that, our closed session will be happening on Monday. And do we have anything further from staff?
No, not at this time, President.
And last chance for any public comments that would like to be added.
No, ma'am, not online.
Thank you very much. And thank you, staff, for all your hard work today. We will see you on Monday, 3 p.m. Thank you. Adjourned.